Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is this is Captain Eon speaking, and I would like to welcome you to another leg of the journey that I have embarked upon. So glad that you have chosen to come aboard, and it is my sincere desire that by sharing in my travels, you will be more motivated, better equipped, all around edified in your journey. So sit back and enjoy the flight.
So I was actually listening to one of my upperclassmen who I pray and have faith that, believe that he has already received his highest degree. I was trying to word that carefully, but which of course is Jesus being the prize. I guess that's the long version of saying he's no longer with us in Earth's classroom. But in listening to him, it seemed like the share that I got was part of a bigger, it seems like maybe like a healing conference or something. I don't want to go too much into it because I'm not too sure, but that's kind of the gist of what I got. But this particular share was focused around the idea of healing and wholeness, and the reason why I actually played it twice because it was speaking exactly to my situation, just to me in general. Now, of course, I've learned not to hang on every word as what has been deemed preaching or messages. And here goes, my personal thing, which it all is. For me, is really just someone sharing their perspective and point of view, or basically the same thing I'm doing now, just testifying about their walk. And I'm learning not to get too hung up on the way that it's done. Again, I may not agree with everything, and I really don't feel I have to. But one thing that I really took away, or it was reinforced, the idea that a receptive and open heart will allow me to glean what God has for me. And all the rest, what's maybe chaff for me, is wheat for the speaker or someone else. So don't go burning the field after I get my wheat. But the idea of faith over fear, and there was many things in there that really spoke to me. One of the biggest things, and hopefully it's not too off topic, but I wanted to share because it's really stuck with me. It's like one of these gems and these jewels, where you can tell, and that's why I feel this really spoke to me, because the forever family member that shared this really is a studier. So I would say he's really truly approved and proved, because there are so many similarities. And again, back to the whole personal idea of it, is a lot of times I have these ideas and concepts and things, and I think, oh, they're so unique to me. But then I hear someone else who I would say I seek to be as studious as them. But when I hear someone else gather the same information, and again, things like this only come from digging at a certain depth, in the well of salvation, I would say. Just like in the ocean, there's different zones, in the water column, only when you get to certain depths. But I realize that at certain depths, the ideas and the concepts are the same, because God, He gives us this. It's the same lesson for everybody. If He requires, or the objective is faithfulness, or, love, or whatever it is, that's the same for everyone. It's not okay, some love and some don't. Some are faithful, some are not. It's the same for everyone. Same objective, same lesson. However, God tailor makes the lesson plan for each of us individually. So the way He came up with the idea, or reached the same conclusion as I did, is not the same, and that's okay, because I enjoy really hearing about how others came to the same conclusion ultimately. But he was talking about the whole thing about, the devil being the prince of the air, right? How he was in heaven and messed that up. God gave him the earth, and they totally messed that up because it was with a form and void. And so he got kicked out of there. And especially when God came and took the keys of death, hell, and the grave, there was his domain of earth. So he was regulated to the air. And what really got me was that he talked about, what is air? Air is nothing. And that really put things in perspective for me, because what does the enemy really have? He has no more power. When God came in the form of a man, he came into Satan's realm, or his kingdom, which was the earth, and took the very keys from his kingdom, leaving him with nothing but air. And so that really stuck with me, as we all that are striving this pilgrim way will face opposition. It's just a given in life. That's something that I've just began to remember, that no matter what God allows to come our way, it's really nothing. And this is just my input on that. What is darkness? Darkness is not actually a thing. Darkness is no thing. Darkness truly is just simply a void left by the absence of light. he did not speak about this, but this is, me coming to the same conclusion and just seeing something that God was showing me in a different way. And it all goes back to him saying, so what is the enemy seeking to void us of? And it is faith. And this is how I get into the main idea today. As I was journeying through the treatment today, chapter 22, verses 16, 22, and 31 all had this specific verbiage that really stood out to me, especially because, this talk and this renewed idea of, nothingness as it relates to our faith was fresh in my mind. And the specific verbiage is a breach of faith. Satan, what is he after? I believe it because God says it. Our faith. He's seeking to sift us like wheat, so our faith fails us not. He's trying to sift our faith out. And there was another message that had to do with that whole sifting process, but I won't get too far in that because I feel I've already gone off on a beaten path, so I'm going to try to get back on the original flight plan. But that is what the enemy's trying to do. He's trying to devoid us, because remember, his power is nothing. All he possesses is nothingness, is voidness. So he seeks to push the void into our faith. And when that happens, it becomes fear. Because what is fear? Fear is really nothing. It is darkness. It is devoid of faith. And this is important because this whole walk is faith. We walk not by sight, but by faith. Now, of course, when you're faithful to something, when you truly believe in something, there will be a life, there will be actions that will really, you'll be walking the talk. Faith is the talk. You can start with the talk, but there has to be both. Faith without works or works without faith, they're both dead. It's a whole process. And in this, thinking about faith and how it's being devoid of faith, fear comes in. I couldn't help but think about our brother Paul. And again, I'm just sharing with me and my thought process, and hopefully just giving a new way for you to see things, or at least get a better idea of how I've come to certain conclusions. But when he was on the road to Damascus and lost his sight, there's this, I equated losing faith with the loss of sight. Because again, the fear gets in. And of course, if you can't see, I remember as a kid, real young, and I had real bad cold in my eye. And it was so bad one morning, and I still remember to this day, and I was like in single digits. But I remember waking up, and I guess that's why I remember it, because the fear left the memory. But I woke up, and there was so much cold in my eye, I couldn't open them. So of course I'm freaking out because now I can't see. And someone took me to the bathroom, washed my face, and that was that. But I equated the, loss of faith, the being devoid of faith, i.e. the darkness of fear, to losing sight. And I've realized that, or I put the two together and said, that's the breach of faith. Because in chapter 22, verse 5, I believe the contract, because for something to be breached, it has to be broken. And I believe the contract entered in was greatest commandment, to love the Lord, walk in all his ways, keep his commandments, i.e., he told Peter, if you love me, was it Peter? I know the Lord said, if you love me, keep my commandments. Cling to him and serve him with all heart and soul. For me, that is faith. Clinging to him, walking with him, with everything. And if I'm honest, there's just a natural tendency to lose sight. That's why, again, for me, the enemy is powerless, because since darkness is the natural state of things, where it started from, I will naturally be drawn back to that. And again, losing sight. That's why for me, this walk with the Lord is a constant walk. I can't take a moment's break, because I will tend to get atrophy, so to say, and revert back to this natural dark state. That's why I feel there's no difference. The only difference between the saint and the sinner is that a saint is just a sinner acknowledging they need the Lord and walking in that direction. That's the only difference. Because of the acknowledgement and the pursuit, they're able to move out of the natural state of darkness. But in any case, this breach of faith is a natural occurrence. But I've realized that God is so perfect that why did he make this natural occurrence? It's not meant to be a hindrance. But God says, at least for me, that I will take this natural occurrence, darkness, fear, and when you apply faith, you will no longer be afraid of the dark, but in a way will, by adhering to the faith commandment, the faith contract, not allowing any breaches. God is so great. He says that not only do you get the reward of me, which that is for me what all of this is all about. That's where this flight is heading, is to obtain him. But he says, in the process of coming to me, because I'm lighting your path, I'm going to give you night vision. So faith allows you to see through the fear. That just came to me, and it might not be as powerful for you, but that little night vision line, that was right on time for me.
I'd like to thank you all for joining me once again. And I just want to remind you that if you have not yet done so, please return your hearts and minds to his upright position.
Caption this. Sir.